have also decided that they'll go about their business. Since it is the month of Ramadan, everything is just going on well. The police officers are just doing their thing, ensuring the traffic is flowing. And as you can see, the shops are open. No one has closed shop just to suggest that there's a demonstration. There is no demonstration, no picketing. Mombasa is safe. Mombasa is not having any demonstrations. As you can see, the streets are clear. Everyone is going about their business. The shops are open. The police are just controlling traffic. And the ones that are outside the banks are just seated, just securing that the banks are secure. So initially, the protests in Mombasa are not going on anywhere. So Mombasa is calm, as you have seen it. And we are happy that everything is going just the way it's supposed to be. No demonstrations, no nothing. Let's wait for Thursday. We do not know what will happen, but let's wait for Thursday. As Monday today, everything is just calm. Everyone is going about their business. Back to you in studio, Njue.
Thank you so much, Ann Buru, live from the streets of the coastal city of Mombasa. Well, if I look at the two pictures, the Kisumu and the Mombasa picture, they're quite different, but the common denominator is that there is peace, no activity whatsoever in regards to the Azimio protest in the coastal city of Mombasa. How is the Nairobi CBD? Last week it was a bit chaotic, but we have Gladys Mungai, who has been keeping a keen eye on that. And she's now joining us live from the CBD. And as you can see, because Nairobi is quite something, she's already armed. She has already protected. Mungai, kindly bring us up to speed with what is happening in Nairobi CBD.
Good afternoon to you, Ben, Troy, Njue, and like you rightly put it, we are sort of pitching camp at CBD in Nairobi, technically following up on Azimio la Umoja One Kenya demonstrations that are now going to be happening bi-weekly, Monday and Thursday. And today being a Monday, we have witnessed a sort of different scenario from what was happening last Monday. There is not yet any single attempt so far to try and access the Kenyatta International Conference Center. And remember, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya supporters are first set to converge at KICC, where they'll have their first address before they start their demonstrations. And so far, no attempt has been made by any members of the public to try and sort of converge at that particular point. Another joint that these particular supporters are likely to sort of converge is the G Gardens, where members of the police service are holding forte that particular area. The G Gardens is cordoned off. No members of the public can really access that particular venue. And remember, this particular venue is very popular with the Bunge la Wananchi Forum, where members of the public meet there from time to time to transact agendas that are of interest to the members of the public. Relatively, what I can say in regards to Nairobi's capital, business is in a half, sort of. Some have opened, some have not yet opened. It is slowly picking up owing to the fact that it appears to be a very peaceful day. Members of the public, although very few in their numbers, continue going on with their duties, although that particular number is, so to speak, very few compared to the other normal days in CBD. And members of the police service moving around with even horses in the capitals of Nairobi, sort of trying to ensure that no members of the public try to disrupt the peace that is currently being experienced in the country. So we are at KICC outside the Kenyatta International Conference, and members of the police service in their numbers on my extreme end, on my right, trying to sort of cordon off the Kenyatta International Conference Center to ensure that members of the public do not get to succeed in terms of accessing that particular venue, which is very crucial because that is where members of the disgruntled Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition are supposed to meet before they commence their demonstrations, which are supposed to go on around in the Nairobi's capital before they go to, or sort of their delegation makes their way into State House to deliver their message to the president in regards to what that particular coalition wants. You remember some of the issues that this particular coalition is spearheading is to ensure that the cost of living is brought down, so to speak, and as well as ensure that the issues to do with the Electoral Commission, IEBC and IEBC server are dealt with. That is the latest from the capital of Nairobi. We will be keeping tabs to ensure that every other news that emerges from this particular end, we will be relaying it back to you, Troy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gladys Munga. It's about 10 minutes to midday, and as you have seen from those three pictures, Kisumu, Mombasa, and Nairobi, there is generally peace, but of course there has been slow activities other than Mombasa, where a business is going on as usual. Of course, we're getting back to my colleagues to get a feel of what is transpiring in the second leg or the second day of the Azimio One Kenya Coalition demos in various parts of the country. And in regards to that, Dr. Nelson, we have seen Kisumu. There are demos, yes, but quite peaceful so far. We have seen in Mombasa, everyone is going on his or her everyday duties. And in Nairobi, it's more or less like lukewarm. Some businesses have closed. Police have cordoned off some of the places that Azimio members have been meeting in the other demonstrations. How do you see the demonstrations today vis-a-vis what we saw last Monday?
Thank you very much. That is the definition of demonstrations as thought by in the law.
What we've seen in Kisumu.
What you've seen. You see the governor, my friend, Governor Nyang' Nyong'o, working with the citizens. That is what you need to see. Peaceful, no property being destroyed unless there's a provocation. But I will also be interested to see what your team is covering in other counties, Machakos, Turkana, Samburu, because I know that's Kenya. We cannot shortlist Mombasa, Kisumu, and Nairobi as the only counties, although those are the hot spots for the current situation. But I'm very impressed with generally what is happening, because at least we are able to see Mombasa business is normal, is going on as normal. Nairobi, I've seen generally this peace as compared to last week such a time. There was a lot of running battles here and there. Kisumu has given us a role model for what should be happening in demonstrations. My only worry, which I would think of, is at what cost is this happening? Is this peace voluntary, or people fear the police, or what would be the reason why people are this way? Again, if you suppress somebody for so long, the outcome may be too much.
Yes, and I will still go back with that question to Ambassador Bishop. We have seen that they're quite peaceful, and it's a good thing that Dr. there has quite pointed out what exactly could have led to this. Remember, the police themselves were very categorical. The IG yesterday said that these demonstrations are illegal, and in as much as we would like to just follow what the police have said, there is a constitution, and he's not above the law, and the constitution gives Kenyans the right to picket and to demonstrate, just like we have seen in Kisumu.
Okay, thank you, Njue. What I can say is that it's quite encouraging. The pictures that we have seen from Kisumu to Mombasa and here, very much encouraging, and we thank all the stakeholders, beginning with the media, the families, institutions, and all the parties who are participating, and in general Kenyans, for the efforts that they have put to see that this is happening. We believe that nothing just happens. So what we are saying is that yesterday, the Inspector General of Police, I listened to him. He said, yes, the Constitution's Article 37 backs every Kenyan within the boundaries to picket and ride for demonstrations. And this should be peaceful. To what he says that, going by what happened last Monday, if it's going to be people demonstrating or coming from this estate to the CBD, any corner of this nation, carrying what we call fencing weapons.
Okay.
And he gave an example of stones, pangas, and rungus. That demonstration is illegal.
Okay,
that's what he said.
Just a minute. Let's also have a feel of what is happening at Serena. JJ Curia, my colleague, is standing there at the Serena, and he has been camping there for a while, so he'll give us a clear picture of what is happening. Remember, Serena at Serena is also one of the feeder roads to the CBD, and the police were quite categorical: no demonstrations in the Nairobi CBD. JJ, I can see you are also protected, and everything looks quite calm, if you ask me. JJ.
Good morning, Ben Troy. We're coming live to you from the junction of Nyerere Road and Processional Way. Looking behind me is a number of police officers that are keeping vigil, obviously to protect the entrance towards State House. You remember Processional Way is the official way for the motorcade of a president, or rather the official way that leads to State House, Nairobi, and that's where we're standing. That's where we're standing this morning. Not so much of activity is around this place. You remember the scenes of last Monday when the Honorable Raila Odinga and the Azimio leaders attempted to address the press from Serena Hotel, which is about a few meters from where I'm standing. They were dismissed by the police and tear gas was lobbed. And of course the pandemonium then that led to the convoy of the Honorable Raila Odinga heading towards Eastleigh and Juja Road. This is where we're standing today. Of course we expect probably that they will come here before they begin the demonstrations that they say will be held every Monday and Thursday, but then we're not too sure whether they will make it here, owing to the scenes that we saw here last Monday. But this is just as the situation looks like. A little bit of calm, you would say. Not much of tension. There are no supporters of any political party or the Azimio leader around here. From what the pictures you can see, that's the end of Kenyatta Avenue along All Saints Cathedral. And again, traffic just flowing normally, but then you will notice there's not a lot of movement of vehicles. It's just normal traffic flowing, not too much of traffic. It means that there's a number of people really who've not made it to their jobs. And then there's Nyerere Road, that goes all the way to Nairobi University. Again, you can see normal traffic flowing. But when you get to the processional way that leads to State House, there's no vehicle that is being allowed to exit or enter through that barrier that you see there. The number of police officers, there's a mixture of general service unit officers and the administration police officers keeping vigil there. There is no vehicle that is passing through there, including government vehicles. And I'm talking about because I've been able to witness a vehicle of the Kenya Defence Forces that wanted to access there, but then it was not able to make it through that barrier because of the very reason that that is now a protected area and police officers are not allowing any entrance or exit through that road. That's just it. But what we can just report is that there's a bit of calm around here. We don't know whether the Honorable Raila Odinga and the Azimio leaders will come to Serena Hotel, although we'll choose another point from where then they will march to the city, as they say, or what will happen after that. But that's just what we have so far. It's calm. But then again, we'll be telling you what is happening throughout the entire day. We'll be following up the Honorable Raila Odinga throughout his procession, and we'll be updating you. For now, let me hand you back to Ben Troy Njue at the Broadcasting House.
Well, some of the things that we are saying is quite commendable, if you ask me, Ambassador. And before we crossed over to Curia at Serena, is that you were touching on how exactly, and also being an initiative that seeks peace, how things are transpiring quite well. Although we haven't seen any Azimio leader as well, and sometimes these are the leaders who quite evoke the quote-unquote the violence button. They seem to be the ones who just touch the button and everything just seems to go south. But everything seems calm, collected, just like it should be.
Okay, I'd say that it's quite encouraging, going by the Constitution on picketing and demonstrations as guaranteed and provided in the Constitutions. But, and also I said on analyzing of the message of the IG was very clear, they are only going to allow demonstrations which are peaceful and which abides by the Constitution and which protects each and every party. Then, let me add something on that. Kisumu is peaceful. Here Nairobi is peaceful. Mombasa is the same. And also we project going by all the hotspots. Kisumu, Nairobi, and Mombasa being one of the major hotspots, plus other few areas. Let's pick from the KVP point where we stand for the business, fraternity, and community. Things are not peaceful. Why? They are loaned to be serviced. There are also people who are working casual laborers. There is no peace. The people who are supposed also to go to work, casual workers also, and those we call the Njue sector also, they are not going to earn anything today, going by what you see, because the customers are not there. So we are saying, and our message has not changed as KVP, that Azimio team led by Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga should look for other constitutional avenues which guarantees democracy as a young democracy. And our message, even from that Saturday and all along as we have walked these things when these things came up, is that democracy has the first three pillars. That is constitutionalism, and we are urging him to go back to that. Second is rule of law. The third one is strong institutions. So if you want to be the strong opposition, to build the strong opposition institutions with the other team that they have come together, that is Azimio, One Kenya Alliance, they have to look into that and everything will go well. Otherwise, when demonstrations are going on, family business should go on, institutional business should go on, that touching on schools, touching also on government affairs, touching on business fraternity, also media, and the humanitarian system should move on. We cannot hit politics. Kenyans, we have done our part, and any other democratically elected citizens, we have done our part, they do their part. Going by our message that we gave, the issues that Azimio One Kenya Alliance, they have raised about 14, we have summarized and analyzed as Kenya Veterans for Peace into 3 categories. They have raised issues on political, and we have told them political problems and issues are political solutions. The other issue they have raised is about economic hardship. Economic problems have economic solutions. Same with the issues, they have their own solutions. The other issue they have raised, very clear, is about spiritualized religion or spiritual issues, that the government is shifting to religion, lifting Christianity more than any other. So we are saying Kenya religious issues have religious solutions.
And it's a good thing that you've mentioned that, because we are going to be looking at the issues that they have raised, because some Kenyans are arguing that in as much as we can have a sit down, there are some things that just are cast in law. A case in point is the IEBC issue, where they're talking about the commissioners. They want the commissioners back. They want the constitution of how the IEBC commissioners are going to be taken. They also need a hand in that. But we'll be talking about that. It's a good thing that you've been able to gather them and categorize them into 3. But first things first, let's first of all cross over to State House Avenue. Regina Manyara has been camping there for a while, and I'm quite sure she has something to bring to us. Regina?
Well, thank you very much, Troy. Did you know that for you to access Ethiopia, you do not need a visa? That clearly tells you where we are this afternoon. We are right outside the embassy of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Here, on a normal day, it would be quite busy as Kenyans as well as those who are working in this particular embassy access their workstation. However, today being Monday the 26th, this particular State House Avenue is quite deserted, so to speak. As far as your eyes can see, there is no traffic, and maybe probably because of what we have been witnessing, and we are talking about the expected demonstrators, if any, would dare to use this particular avenue to access State House. Now, if I was to walk straight all the way up, I would land on State House Gate A. And the reason why State House Gate A is quite important is that it is a main gate to access State House. And as you've been listening to what the opposition opines, is that the demonstrators are to take this petition to State House. But as it is this afternoon, is that you cannot access State House via the State House Avenue. As you can see, that particular vehicle approaching is labeled Government of Kenya, and that's why it has been given easy access to this particular road. If you are on foot, you're riding on a boda or even an Uber, you will not be able to access State House via State House Avenue. So as an option that demonstrators would explore, this may be looking like an option because the road is used and open to the public, but for today, you cannot drive through unless you live here or unless you have an office here. So they are demanding to see your identification card. They also want to know where it is that you're going so that they can give you access, Troy. So as we're waiting to see the turn that these particular demos are going to take today, if it's about approaching State House via this particular road, well, I'd want to say what the security just actually told us is that no access. Access denied via State House Avenue. We'll be keeping tabs on the various routes and roads open if at all we were to access State House. The next is just one more via Dennis Street, and we have been told that security apparatus have also mounted a similar security barricade there from as early as 6 a.m. in anticipation of any activity, given that Serena Hotel is not so far off from where we are standing, and that the processional lane is also closed off, as well as the State House Road at the junction at the Arboretum Drive is closed. So only one option is left to access State House, and this is via Dennis Street. We are going to be driving there in not too long to give you an assessment of the security situation in as far as State House is concerned. Now back to you, Troy.
Thank you so much, Regina. There at the State House Avenue, which is one of the roads or one of the feeder roads to State House, and also, as we have seen, at the Serena Junction, which also is another feeder road to State House, has been cordoned off, and also Dennis Street and also University Way. So State House is a no-go zone. Of course, Azimio, they have always talked about taking the petition to State House. Unfortunately, State House is one of the protected areas that we have, and police were very categorical is that no one will be allowed at State House. And it's a good thing that Bishop also mentioned that as Kenya Veterans for Peace, they have also have a sit down where they have looked at the issues that Azimio have raised, and they have been able to categorize them. But I would like us to touch on some of the issues that they have touched, and you being part of the clergy, I would like to get your view on that, because Azimio One Kenya are talking about some of the things they're talking about have been called unrealistic demands. Case in point is the electoral reforms that they're talking about. The wheels of justice and the wheels of actually ensuring that we have IEBC chairperson and also commissioners has already started. The process has already started. This is something that is enshrined in law. More or less, it's like it's cast in stone. But they want their demands also captured in the recruitment of the IEBC. Some of these demands that they have talked about, they could be argued out as more or less being a little bit ambitious.
Okay, yeah, that's very true. You know, it's one thing to have the law, and it's another thing to have, you know, the way you take it and the way you demonstrate that law. Mm-hmm. For example, when it comes to the election of those IEBC, the former share, his term is already over. So there has to be another one coming in. Then there is that issue of these others have to come in. So the right process need to be followed so that even if they are the same ones who come and fire again, they have to be vetted, they have to go through the right process. So there is no way that you would talk about, obeying the law and not doing what the law says and applying it in the right way. It's just like, the word of God. There are people who take it and apply it in the wrong way. And yet, that is the law from God, his word. But you find that there are some people who really misinterpret it and use it in a different way. So it is important to do it the right way. So as they talk of these people coming in, so-and-so should come back and all that, let them do it and follow the right process.
Okay. Daktari,
yes.
Looking at what the Kenyans have an opportunity to change the course of history through mandamanos, and I'm talking about this because a number of countries have also actualized some of democracy through mandamanos. South Africa, case in point, during the apartheid, and also looking at Kenya during the clamor for multi-partyism in Kenya. I remember there were mandamanos, and those mandamanos are the same one that birthed that, the repealing of Section 2A, which now allows Kenyans to have multiple parties in the country. But for today, and remembering that the IG of police and the president told Kenyans not to go and picket, do not go and demonstrate. That one would not really call that democracy, because there are some people who have not gone to picket and to demonstrate because one, the demos have been declared illegal, and also they are quite scared because of the police themselves, who are supposed to guard their rights when they are picketing and when they are demonstrating. More or less, some people would say that they were intimidated by the police. I would like to pick your mind on that.
Well, thank you. What I would say is the Kenyans, every Kenyan, even yourself and myself, we have a common need, our food. Looking at the videos of what's happening in State House and the other places, I'm pitying the businessmen who have offices in that place, who rely on people who walk in. I know there's a restaurant around there, they rely on walk-in clients. Today they won't sell anything today. They will not be eating today. They have a family, they have school fees, and the cost of living is going high. The demonstrators and the leaders of opposition, they have a point in what they're saying. The IG of police mentioned cautiously that no demonstrations have been allowed, which means by law, they applied for a permission, but the law doesn't require to apply for a permission. Just notify the police that will be having this. You just notify as a courtesy. You don't have to apply for permission. When that happens, it now goes the other way, what you're saying, intimidation. But from where I sit, I believe that every Kenyan so far, right now, knows that Monday is not a normal day. It is not looking very good, especially the business community. As KVP, we really want to see development. And development cannot come without peace, neither without security. What is happening by the government saying this is not allowed, we would be interested to know whether what is happening in Kisumu is also illegal so far. Because we have seen it peaceful, people are walking with the governor hand in hand trying to achieve a point with their placards. Is it going to make Anyang' Nyong'o and the team in Kisumu to be arrested today because it's illegal? Because the IG was very categorical across the board that if you are going to have a demonstration, don't come as a goon to destroy property. And I agree with that, because all of us, we have investments in different parts of the country. If somebody would want to break down something that you've made over the years, it is not good for anybody. So I purposely would really want to request all the parties to look at the long-term effect of this. Consider yourself, put yourself in a shoe of that trader who relies on the Gikomba food market every day. Today there's no business because there's fear. Like you said, there's intimidation. Myself, I can't even drive to town because I don't know if my car will be okay or not. I may come out without windscreen. So this fear is because of the history of what we've had. And I think Kenya should start learning to be civilized. You've said very well about South Africa. It was generally very peaceful. The properties were not destroyed as it were. Israel, the same thing is happening. Even in France, there are demonstrations going on. So I think we have to have civic education about what is picketing, because picketing seems to be covering some goons who are generally thieves, in lack of better words. They say we are demonstrating, but their target is basically to obtain property without consent. So I would really request the media and other players in the stakeholders in this particular forum to look at the possibility of having education about picketing. What is this picketing? What do you mean on picketing? And what are demonstrations and picketing? Because clearly you would see that if you ask somebody who is holding a stone, wanting to throw the stone, you need to ask this person, what are you demonstrating about? If you try to pick one, or I saw something happening with Al Jazeera, they picked one of the demonstrators, asked, so why are you on the streets? Then the guy said, we just don't like this government. Nothing specific. That's not good.
And that's where you're going to pick it from, because in as much as you are picketing and you're demonstrating, it's only prudent and it's only fair that we give the solutions. If I do not like the way you're carrying out your issues, I should also be coming up with a solution that you should do A, B, C, D. And that is where I come to you, Bwana Chairman, is that the Azimio Brigade, they've talked about a number of issues which they do not like. And in as much as they are talking about what they do not like, they are not coming up with solutions on what they expect done or how we can reconcile the two. I'd like you to touch on that.
Thank you very much, Njue. Going by what we have gone on the hair for the last 2 weeks, and when this issue started, we have been very much economical on the message that we are giving to political class. But let me go and elaborate that the issues that Azimio team, One Kenya Alliance, led by our Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, they have raised, why we are advising them to look for alternative constitutional ways is because we believe that team has mature politicians. Somebody who has gone to be the vice president, somebody who has been a constitutional cabinet secretary. Some of them are in the national government, some of them are in the different levels, state offices, or link them now, or the national county government. We believe they are mature and they are leaders. So we are advising them to use the right way, approach this government. History will learn to project the future and even help our present situation. We are caught up between transition issues, which are raising the political issues that they are raising, the economic issues they are raising, and even religious issues that they are raising. During the first transition from the colonial transition, the colonial, some who were left in the government, they came together with the first African government. They settled those issues together, and the father to Right Honorable, I'm so to say so, he was there. They fixed together. Also, when it came to Kenyatta administration, transition now to Moi administration, Kenyans came together. After that, we came to Kibaki. Kenyans came together. Although there were some hiccups of 2007, 2008, but later they came together and they settled. Also, the issues which were there during transition of Kibaki to Uhuru, they came together. And that's why we see there was a think tank and this economic transformation team and all those things, they came together. And that's what the birth of what we are seeing today, Kenya has developed. So what we are saying is that during transition, we are calling for concrete multi-sectoral approach because we have no any other Kenya to live. We have no any other place to go. If they have, they know. But we have a responsibility to build Kenya together and present to the next generation the way we found it. That is our duty and that's our mandate, and we have a legacy to leave. So what he is saying is that both for civilized democracies, young democracies as Kenya, we need to come together, reason together, we have a common destiny. We say this. I'm very careful when we are talking to politicians, but this is very important to know that. In politics, in political class, we are not politicians, but we know what is politics, we know what is not politics. In political class, we say we have no permanent enemies. Why? People don't go beyond that because you have permanent interest in politics.
You have permanent interest.
We have no permanent enemies,
but we have permanent interest.
Because we have permanent interest in politics. So it's their responsibility to shake off the differences, check on all the factors and pillars of democracies. That's why I'm taking you. And then the process and the issues that they are raising. Was the Constitution exhausted in the political issues they did? To us, yes. Was there a rule of law? Yes. Were there strong institutions that determined the ruling of the issues that they raised on 2022 elections? Yes. Which one? There was the Supreme Court of Kenya. And now there is a sitting president recognized by the government. And the president has gone on the air telling them very clear, let them sit down with the police who are constitutionally mandated institution to protect any Kenyan hearing their grievances and their distress and their dissatisfaction to the government or that is in power. So he has told them very clear, go and sit down with the police, do what you can do to make sure that Kenya is moving forward. Second, he has asked him to come and help him to fix the problems of the things that they have. Our position is, let those Azimio politicians understand this, and I repeat for the third time.
Okay, and still on the same, a lot of people have come out to urge the two parties to cease fire and have a dialogue. But first things first, the president himself said that I know what the leader of Azimio wants is that he wants the Nusu Kate or the Nusu government. And on the other hand, former Premier Raila Odinga said that no, we do not want have government. We don't want to be part of government. What we are looking for or looking at is the interest of Kenyans. But if these two leaders just continue to maintain their hardline stance, we will not get out of this. And I'm quite sure the church could be there, or the clergy could be there, although there have been some accusations that the clergy is more or less leaning on the government. But they are or could be the fire that now lights up the whole place, and we are calm. They have a sit down, each one now to take a more or less hardline stance so that we may do away with the mandamanos. I remember last week we were told, though unverified, that the country lost around 2 billion shillings a single day. I'd like to get your sentiments on that, and especially where the clergy comes in, as opposed to just you talking on the pulpit, and as opposed to the clergy having press conference, trying to have a middle ground to reconcile the two.
Yeah, looking at actually what he has said, looking at the interest of these people, you realize that the people who are suffering are the Kenyans, all the Kenyans, because whether maybe in the church or the clergy or whoever, the issues that they are raising, actually there is some fact. Like now the economy is so bad, And when I go to the supermarket, when another one goes, whether a bishop or whoever, is feeling that kind of, pinch on the hike of the economy. But then the other thing that we need to look at, or they need to bring into the right, how do we solve these problems? Now, for example, when they are on the street, okay, we have seen that peaceful demonstration, which is good. But on the other hand, what is being resolved by that? If every day, every Monday, every Thursday, people come out and don't do anything, or rather the shops are closed, the businesses are closed. It is the whole nation that is suffering. Whether they are them as the leaders, our leaders, we are all suffering, because we need to come to a point where we bring our people, to a solution. Because if we do it every Monday, every Thursday, what is really coming in? What help is really, what are we gaining in that? That's why we are saying dialogue would be the best way, and there are channels of doing that. There are better ways of doing it. So why isn't it happening? You see, the church, when it comes in, of course, we talk about it in the church, we pray about it, and there are even those channels. It's good that you people, the media people, are calling us as the church to represent and to give our voice. That unless something is done, unless these two come up with a solution, just like we say when two bulls fight, it is the grass that suffers. So these that have their own interests, when they get their interest, for them, maybe their businesses are going on. Maybe even their businesses are not within Kenya. They don't have a business in Gikoba. Their businesses could be elsewhere, where these people who are demonstrating are not even getting into. Their businesses are not destroyed. But the common man is the one who is suffering. That's why we are calling upon these people. And there are many ways they can do it. As our friend has said here, they are learned people. They know what needs to be done. Actually, they don't even need somebody to tell them, this is what is going to happen. They know. They have learned people there, even those that call themselves learned friends. They are there. In fact, there are quite a good number of them there. They should teach them how to do it, and do it the right way. Otherwise, demonstration, whether it is peaceful or not peaceful, it is affecting the Kenyans.
Doc, looking at what happened last week on Monday, and this is on the backdrop of the violence that we witnessed, the media was castigated, and actually we even got a letter from the Communications Commission of Kenya, Authority of Kenya, and they were not quite comfortable on how the media carried itself that day. But a number of Kenyans, including media pundits, argued that we as the media, we need to give the right pictures. And that is exactly what we did. Somebody would say that perhaps showing what we showed could have fanned some of the issues that we saw. But at the end of the day, now we will be delving into another issue that we wouldn't want to delve into, the issue of media freedom. In your view, as a KVP, how did the media cover the events of Monday and today in regards to the demonstrations? Because Kenyans also have a feel that the media are doing their job, but there are people who feel that indeed media were not objective on that day.
Thank you. The media, from my opinion, this is personal opinion, and I think largely standing for peace, the media did their part. When you find yourself going for a demonstration and you are violent and you are captured on media, you are live on TV, you are a father, you are a mother, your kids will hold you accountable. If we let everything to be in darkness, there will be more atrocities happening to people. And the media is an independent body. Your work is just to shine the light on what is happening in the community. General, you don't control demonstrators, neither do you control the people who are having to respond to the same. So in my opinion, there was fair coverage. Maybe the angling of the story, you cannot amend the story as it happens. It happens as it is. For example, in Kisumu, there's a peaceful demonstration. There's nothing you can change about it. It is the truth. And I think media should stand for the truth. Unless, the only thing that I would say maybe is this issue of DCI, where there were some photos that were shared that were not accurate photos, and I think they apologized for that. Other than that, I think there was a fair coverage of the activities for last week. Beyond that, the media has a freedom. It's a free society for the meantime. We do not go to the dark days where if you report something against the government, you are held to jail or something. I think we are past that. And Kenya is a very peaceful nation, generally speaking. So for me, I commend the media. The only thing you can maybe add in the near future is to educate the public more about what can be done, what cannot be done. For example, if the opposition is raising a very key issue about food security, what is practically possible? If you are the president today, what can you do? What is it that His Excellency the President has not done or has the power to do but has not done it? So these are practical things that you need to look at every item that is being raised and identify exactly what can be done. Because like you said, having demonstrations without alternative solution is not the best. And I will echo the statement from the IG who was asking, these servers, are they in there should be some, maybe there could be a letter written from the opposition to IBC requesting for ABCD. I'm just thinking as a Kenyan, you know, what will be a way out. So the media, for me, there was a commendable job.
And you being the chairman of the Kenya Veterans for Peace,
Yes, you're right.
yeah, we were battered on a Monday because they were not quite categorical that we did a good job on that day, and there are some sections, including CAK, who are not comfortable on how the media carried itself on that day. I would like to pick your mind on that, because at the end of the day, if we are the media, we have a cardinal duty to shine light on what is happening so the Kenyan can be able to see, and that is exactly what we did on Monday.
Thank you. I can say that the whole issue of Monday demonstration, the IG had given a clear message to the press last Sunday, but one, that they received the letters of notification, which according to constitutions, they were late. So we have a clear specification that there should be 72 hours notifications to give the police or constitutionally mandated institutions to prepare in terms of resources, in terms of personnel, and command protection to the demonstrators as they are guaranteed and protected by the Constitution. So that did not happen. So the issue of Monday, according to the law, we are not lawyers, but we know what is law and what is not law. As KVP, that demonstrations, according to the law, they were unlawful. Second, the police, because it was unlawful, and the commander, the top leadership of police had declared so, that they are going to meet the full force of the law. That's why you see there was a lot of commotions. The issue of Communication Authority of Kenya, CAK. I like to say this. We are in the free world. This is where we are. And this is where the world is taking us. And you cannot stop destinies. And you cannot stop what's happening in life. It's good to know that we are in the free world. The Constitution allows us of freedom, but it's limited. When it comes to issue of media, now putting into all the factors of free world, the Constitution of freedom, being as Kenyans, and being also the actors in the media, there is a constitutional body, that is Communication Authority of Kenya, that should regulate. Why, as KVP, where we are standing as the chair, and as the executive director said, the things and the photos and the events of that demonstrations, they can have two effects. One, they can have positive effects, as he has exonerated, and it can have negative effects. So that someone is sitting in the house and you see the pictures being posted of the neighborhood, estate or street or town, and they say now, because everyone, my friend is there, my wife is there, my brother is there, let's go. The whole thing will be a confusion.
But
So
I've zeroed in on that particular day alone, because that is exactly what CAK a little bit were uncomfortable with what we covered. Because I believe, if at all, everyone now, because we have smartphones, can become a reporter of some sort, and we can even get some. You even get some videos and images from another country, and you see somebody plastering them on social media, which could even aggravate the situation, as opposed to somebody who switches on KBC Channel 1 and sees exactly what is happening. I believe the latter is far much better than the former.
Let me say this, Njue. Thank you for that. Communication Authority of Kenya is the regulatory body which is mandated to regulate media. What you should hear, what you see. But the issue they were raising, we also raise them. It's good to know that, because you have to analyze. The issue of repeating what was done in the morning, people throwing stones by 10, being repeated to the evening, that create a negative effect. So what I'm saying is that Communication Authority, as a body, they may be wrong, they may be right, but they have a mandate to regulate the media, and media has a constitutional mandate also, according to the license, to listen to their bosses. That's where we are, but it's a balance of everything.
And then, let me post this one to Dr. because being the executive director, maybe you've heard of this, but a lot of politicians have talked about amending some of the laws, and especially when it comes to the demonstrations and picketing. They want those laws amended, and looking at what they want amended is that if at all they make good their threat, is that the law now will be a little bit tighter and stricter when it comes to demonstrations. And remember, there are so many laws on the freedom of Kenya. Actually, the Bill of Rights in the Constitution is the biggest chapter in the Constitution, which will now be like squeezing in the laws, which will not go down well with a lot of Kenyans.
Well, thank you very much. This is what I would say. Today we have a new government. In 2027 there could be a new government. In 32 there will be a new government. Kenya would keep on moving. We as Kenyans, we are one. We have every reason to change the law when we want. As Kenyans, if we sit together and say, okay, we want to change, we can change the law, so long as it's for the good. But we cannot change our law targeting you today, because tomorrow you won't be the one there. I'll be here and you'll be there. There'll be an interchange. However, it is very important to also note that the new Constitution of 2010 really captured what the old Constitution was not addressing, the atrocities and what, if you get a bad government, what it can do to the citizens. You remember what you said here earlier, the multi-party democracy, allowing of multi-parties. These are steps, these are baby steps. It is very sad when I see a politician standing on a podium and comparing America with Kenya. Like the bishop has said, my chair, we are a young democracy. We are at puberty stage, I would say. We are still at the youthful stage as a country. America is much ahead, is much old, is at the oldest level of democracy. We cannot compare these two. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to do wrong things. We are going to get wrong things. We are going to do right things. We are going to make baby steps until we are mature. So it is very early. We're just less than 60 years or something thereabout. It's very early to say. So we will keep on amending, making this, making that, until one day we are stable. As you can see, for example, when I see the laws of election, for example, the IBC, now the forming of the IBC, and how the stakeholders are giving their input, why this is not happening in this particular way. Remember, there was a time when the IBC, by then was ECK, the one Electoral Commission of Kenya, they would make an announcement at night at 10 p.m. Now the law says, no. But this time, you cannot announce. That is the development. It's a step. We should not ignore that. So if there's a new amendment, somebody is thinking of making a new amendment that is positive for the Kenyans, let us welcome. Let's look at it. Let's go for a referendum. Let's discuss it as Kenya. It's our country. We are not living for another Kenyan. This is the only Kenya we have. So if anything causes us to make change to the law, so be it. So long as it's not infringing on the rights of other parties. And again, we respect the independent institutions. That is very important.
Indeed. Well said. Reverend, I remember after Monday, there were calls that for leaders of Azimio, because a lot of people talked about they are the one who fund whatever happened on Monday. They should be arrested and the full force of law should take effect. Well, I'm quite sure that the government was a little bit cagey on that, because there were some politicians who were arrested, they were charged, and they were later on released. I think they were in court, and they were released on a bond. And there were suggestions that the more you arrest these people, the more people will revolt on that. But at the end of the day, we have to maintain law and order. And these were lawfully arrested leaders, and they were lawfully taken to the court. But the effect of that could have been a little bit catastrophic, because a lot of people, every time you see a politician at DCI, you'll see a lot of people come out. Our leader, our son, our CS, our MP is being victimized. This is something that we have seen, and we have seen leaders being arrested for this as well.
Yeah, so my take on that is that, when one breaks the law, whatever position you could be having, you need to be, that law needs to be imposed on that particular person. See, like when we hear like somebody say, if I am to be taken to the court, let, whoever that person who was talking about yesterday, let him come and put me into jail. This person may not be the one to do it, but the law has it that there are other people who can do it. So the point is, these people who are put there, I'm sure there were other leaders, even in opposition, that were not there. So they were not put into jail. But these ones presented themselves in the demonstration. So they were breaking the law. That's why they had to be put in. And we have seen that many times when somebody maybe is taken like to the DCI, like you said, and you see many people coming in, but they are not really trying to find out, is it lawful what this person has done? Has he done the right thing, or has he done the wrong thing? And we even saw sometimes when, some even wanted to get right inside the offices, which is not according to the law, because the DCI had that particular person they wanted to investigate. So it is good for Kenyans to allow the people who have been mandated to do a particular thing to do their work without interfering, without looking at maybe the position of a person. If it's that person has done the wrong thing, let the person be judged according to what they have done. If they have done the right thing, then things will work well. At times, as we know, our country is being affected so much by corruption. So you find that somebody may get in even having committed an offense, and instead of being judged correctly, you find a lot of corruption coming in. You find a lot of people coming in and saying, oh, this is so and so, this is honorable so and so. But the law should not be taken to judge some people harshly while others are judged in the right way. So it should be fair to all the Kenyans. Yeah.
All right. Ambassador Bishop, and because of the interest of time, what should be the end game? The president is not around, and he will not be around for the next couple of days being in Europe, but he is going to come back, and the buck stops with the president. If you had an audience as the chair of the Kenya Veterans for Peace, you have the president on your table, what would you urge him to do?
As the president of Kenya, we would like to tell him that he is in charge and should be in charge. First, I want to correct you, there is no vacuum in leadership. The Constitution says that when the president is out of a country on official duty or other factor.
I've not said there is a vacuum there, but at the end of the day, this demonstration, the two people who will have to sit down is not the deputy president and anybody else. It's the president and the leader of Azimio. And that is exactly what we saw in 2007. We saw a handshake in 2017, but the buck stops with the president. Let's just be very, very categorical on that.
We would tell the president, as veterans, we did what we could and we made Kenya peaceful in our active service. And we made others security. Now we are in retirement, we need development. We cannot develop in retirement, we cannot be in retirement, Nigeria retirement, when there is no peace. We need peace. He should use all the avenues, all the means constitutionally to make sure that we have peace in retirement, and so do all other Kenyans, and that's his duty. Also, we need to tell him, and we will tell him, and we tell him now, that we are in retirement. We cannot have retirement anywhere, not only in Kenya, when there is insecurity. Him, as the one who's constitutionally mandated to make sure there is security in his government, he should use all constitutional ways to make that Kenya has enough security. Also, on the issue of development that we stand, we need to develop in retirement, and so do any other Kenyan. Let him do what he can constitutionally, go an extra mile, and make sure that there's development and also the economic transformation that they say, and also security on all areas. That's our take. We did our part. It's now, I'm sure you've never seen my predecessors coming out very clear in the media. Apart from the 2 weeks that I was in media, the last time I was in media was last year, June. It is in record. When I called for press conference, when we had a new act, Kenyan Defense Forces Military Veterans Act was passed. We came to laud the government then. We don't like coming to media. So we are saying there's a message that we are passing to Kenyans, beginning with the president as he was asked, and the entire government, both in the opposition and the ruling coalition or government. And even the county and national government and all the stakeholders, state and non-state actors, faith-based organizations, Kenyans, we may be a young democracy, but we have mature people, exposed people with an experience like us, both in retirement and active service. So we are saying the effort that has made us to come out of retirement and speak, we have a message and we need to be listened, because we know what is happening regionally. According to our brothers here, there is no retirement in Ethiopia of what's happening. There's no retirement in peace in what is happening in our neighbor country. We don't need to mention them. And all over the world. So a president who is sitting, the president should make sure that he does what is right constitutionally to unite the nation. Message also to the opposition leader who is leading as the New One Kenya Alliance and the top echelon. They should listen to themselves, do the right thing, and make sure that during their service, as we were in active service, now we are giving park through service out of fact service. We are supposed to be retired and do our own businesses, looking after our families. Now we are coming, they have made us to come to air our views and speak and advise and compliment on matters peace, security and development. We don't like this. We don't like every time now chasing like to be like a watchdog or police. We want to see what was done when they were in power to those who are out of the government. Let them do the same to the government and to the president. Kenya is one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Daktari, if you had an audience with the head of state, or the two of them, what exactly would you rally them to do? Because the clarion call here is indeed there is a lot of challenges in the country, but the way that we sort them out will determine whether we have a prosperous nation or not.
Okay. If I got a chance to speak to His Excellency, the President, from where I sit, I will just repeat what the law says. The President is a symbol of unity. It is the first sign of peace. Even our national anthem, every time the President is somewhere, there will be a national anthem. Peace is mentioned so many times in our national anthem. It is the President who can initiate this peace. And we must thank God that we have a president who can be this calm. Ordinarily, if this was in another place, in a different setup, people have different reasons of handling problems. They will just do things that are not within the measurable standards. So far, I have not seen our president speak in a very harsh tone that would provoke someone to doing something wrong. Because sometimes I see so many statements in the media, and I really feel bad. If I was the president, will I focus on looking for investors, or I have to focus on answering what the political class is saying? So if I was the president, I will just urge him to play his role as per the law and resolve this stalemate. This stalemate lies purely in the hands of the leader of opposition, and like my chair said, they must think, assuming they were in government and this happening to them, what would be their reaction? You know, you have to put yourself in the other shoe for you to feel what could be done. So, and I know the president is having a strategy. I would think so. I mean, I have faith that there's a plan. Even for Honorable Raila Odinga, I'm very sure that they have a strategy of how they are going to solve this. Because you asked a very good question. What is the end game? Shall we go this way for 5 years, every Monday to Thursday, up to 5 years? Definitely there will be a stop at some point. And this back stops with the president. He is the leader of this country. If something happens today and the country burns, history will record that this was the leader when this was happening, even if he was not directly involved. So he has the responsibility to ensure peace and democracy remains for the country.
All right, Reverend, in 1 minute, if you had an audience with the two leaders, what would you call upon them to do?
First, I would actually ask them to sit together, because they are the two who have the solution to our country. And if they would sit, not really to come and maybe greet one another as they are really looking at the greetings, but to look at the solution of our country, because what we need, we are actually looking on them. Actually, the buck stops at them, the two of them, because you know what they would agree would be very helpful. Like we have seen in the past, where we have had even wars, not only demonstration, we've seen people fighting, we've seen people suffering, but now this is the demonstration. So why not come together? And these are people who have been, you know, together. At one time they were together. So, as we have already, you know, or we already know, there are no permanent enemies in the politics, so they can still come together. And if they are not able to do it together, I would also urge them, you know, get somebody, an arbitrator who will come and help, so that we get a solution.
Thank you. Well said. Reverend Joyce Munyiri of the Glory Outreach Assembly Church, part of the clergy. We also had Dr. Nelson Sechere, who is the Executive Director and CEO of the Kenya Veterans for Peace. And we also had his chairman, Ambassador Bishop Robert Musili, who is the chairman of the Kenya Veterans for Peace, which is a military, former military officers who came together to start an organization. Not only did they have to secure our country through arms, now, since they are retired veterans, they are advocating for peace. Thank you indeed so much for joining us for that around 2 hours or so, where we were looking at building a cohesive nation despite the so many challenges that we have in the country, including the Azimio One Kenya Coalition maandamanos, demos if you like, entering the second leg. Well, I'll take a quick short break. I'll be back with a lunchtime news. Thank you indeed so much for joining us.
To Take on Tech. This is the show that keeps you updated on everything you need to know about technology.
First of all, the women that are already in tech should be empowered.
I've actually studied electrical and electronics engineering, telecommunications option. So basically I'm in the tech sector.
The government should empower the girl child in a way that they should venture so much into ICT.
There's never a dull moment with us. Tune in every Monday from 10:30 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.